Yo, what is up? I am Matt Mascarenas, and welcome to another edition of Sports Shorts right here on Elevation 5280sports.com, e5280sports.com. If you're lucky, that's the site. I was gonna say I was gonna go down a different road. Anyway, fun show today. Fun show today. Real quick before we get going, if you're watching us via Facebook, don't forget to like, share, all that good stuff. The same thing on if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it and you don't want to share it, no biggie, right? It is what it is. But if you do, if you like it, give us a share, give us a like, all that good stuff. Also, if you want to get involved in the show, feel free to do that as well. You can. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, aka, or I should say X, aka Twitter. We're live there at E50 or Elevation 5280 Sports Radio there, and also the same thing on YouTube. So we are live on those three locations. So if you want to go get in there, catch us live. We usually go about 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and those are the places we are live. You can get involved in the chat, get involved in the show, all that good stuff there. If you want to follow us on the website, go check that out at e5280sports.com. Blogs, articles, all kinds of good stuff over there. More podcasts, more shows, just more content, more good stuff. Fun show today. We're going to kick it off. Sorry, if you want to follow me on X, I feel weird saying it. I got to be honest. I was one of those people that I was like, I'm not going to let it bother me. It's no big deal. It's just a word. It's just a new term. It's just a new phrase of what we use. But I don't know if it's gonna sink in, because it's kind of there's a part of me that's like, I kind of want to say Twitter. So you could follow me at Matt Mascarenas1 on Twitter or X. Fun show. Let's start off. This is what we got planned today. We're going to start off with the MLB trade deadline, but this is what we got planned for today. We're going to run down the trade deadline scenario. The Rockies, I think they acquired like 7, 8, or 9. I want to say, I got it written down here. Actually, I could probably just look at it there, but it's like 7 or 8 pitchers. They get rid of CJ Cron, Grichuk, who hit a home run in his debut with the Angels, back home with the Angels, or as we are calling them, the Rockies, the Rockies of Los Angeles. I think that's what we're calling them. The Anaheim Angel Rockies. Either way, if you want to go root for a team to make the playoffs or have a playoff run, there you go there. No big names traded, but we'll get into that here. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. There's some pitchers that were traded. So we'll get into the MLB trade deadline, kind of where some guys went, if you're interested in that. NFL camp updates, a lot of things going on out there, a lot of big news over the weekend, but over the week in general, Jonathan Taylor wants out, and then the Colts come back and they're going to put him on the, was it the pup list or was it there was a list that he was going to get put on. I don't think it was a pup list. I think it was the non-football injury, or the list you get put on if you suffer an injury outside of the facility. So this was just after him demanding a trade. He goes back and forth. We'll get into that. Trey Lance not looking too good in San Francisco. Houston, you got the Green Bay Packers. My Green Bay Packers, we might get into them. Jordan Love looking pretty good over there. Zaire Alexander, there's some things he came out with. We might get into all that, and then we'll close out the show with the battle royal that is ensuing, or that we are anticipation of, on October 8th, and that's the Denver Broncos versus the New York Jets. Nathaniel Hackett responds to the comments Coach Payton made last week. Aaron Rodgers has responded a couple times to the comments that Sean Payton has said. Sean Payton's done, moved on, and we'll get into that. So fun show today. Like I said, if you want to get involved, you can do that via Twitter, X, YouTube, or Facebook. Moving right along, the MLB trade deadline came and went. There's still some trades being finalized. The biggest name, I mean, there were trades that were kind of, I know the White Sox were just unloading everybody. I want to say they traded like 4 or 5 people. They're acquiring for pitching. It looked like they were just unloading, right? The Yankees were supposed to be out there unloading too. It was the Cardinals acquired some people. The Diamondbacks made some moves that, there's so many things that went through, but for me, I was really happy for the Colorado Rockies, because I don't know if there's a lot of trades here that might change the trajectory of a franchise, of a team. The Astros acquire Justin Verlander. He leaves the Mets. Sorry. He was one of the big additions to the Mets, or supposedly going to be one of the big additions to the Mets. He gets traded for Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford. So he's gone. That was probably, in my opinion, I mean, you can look at Paul DeJong as a name, but Verlander was probably the biggest name to get traded over the weekend. Brad Hand, I mean, I guess you could look at that too. My Braves acquire a pitcher for the bullpen, and Rockies get a couple of prospects there from the Atlanta farm system. So that's awesome, right? If you're a Rockies fan, I really feel like, I want to get excited about this trade. I really do. Because it gives you some kind of it shows you that things might be looking another way, because they really loaded up on pitching. And I'm going to try to have some Rockies guys on, guys or gals on, somebody from that covers the Rockies, to really help us to get into this, to see if this is worth us as fans, or who want to get back to being fans. Because my whole thing with Rockies is, it's difficult for me to get on board because I don't know where we're going. If I don't know where we're going, I'm not going to go ride with you. That's just in general. That's like just over the board, right? Like it's just something that I want to know where you're going. And this is a better direction, I feel, because they, in the Rockies, gave us an example of, hey, we're going to try to get better pitching. Schmidt came out and even said as much as that we're trying to get better pitching. We're trying to load up the pitching prospects and develop some pitchers and let these young guys play. That's why you see CJ Cron get traded. That's why you see Grichuk get traded. That's why you saw Moustakas get traded. earlier in the year, earlier in the season. So going forward, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. Like the Rockies, as far as watching games and whatnot, I'll listen to my just like I do already. I'll do. I won't. Nothing like that's going to change for me. But I'm gonna pay attention to see what they do. I'm going to see who they bring up and here coming later this month, who they send down, who they because there's still that whole trading outside of. I think the Rockies. I don't want to sound like Colin Cowherd here, and say they can trade draft picks and whatnot, but I know that there is it's kind of some things that go on later in the year where you bring guys up, send guys down, and money consideration, pick to be named later, player to be named later, release, and they pick up. There's still things that happen. So who knows if that's going to happen? But I'm curious. I'm back. Yep, you got me back. Good job, Rockies. So I think that we'll look going down for going forward with the MLB. It's going to be. I've been watching a lot more baseball, man. I'm paying attention to what the Braves are doing. I'm paying attention to. I've got involved with watching Shohei Ohtani, trying to figure out or not figure out, but really dig into what that guy brings to a baseball game. And I've watched him before, but entertainment is what I'm in for now. And like I said, I'm going to pay attention to what the Rockies are doing. So uh, I think it was great. It was a good trade deadline. It was a good trade deadline, especially if you're a Rockies fan or you're trying to get back to being a Rockies fan. You're trying to get back into that Rockies. I don't know if you want to call it mindset, but it's fun to root for the Rockies. It really is. I want the Rockies to do good. I really do. I just want to know where you're going. That's all. I just want to know where you're going. NFL trade or NFL training camp is in full swing. We're rolling. We're rolling. And I like training camp because there's so many things that happen or so many things that go on that are in the grand scheme of things don't have anything to do with what happens in the regular season. And I'm talking about news stories. I'm talking about people asking to get traded, sitting out, holding out. As Josh Jacobs, the Las Vegas Raiders, they're trying, they're starting to negotiate. You know, will their Jimmy Garoppolo, but see the Raiders, they're starting to negotiate with Josh Jacobs, but in the same time, you got your quarterback getting into issues, getting into arguments with with your best defensive player. And remember, we don't know if Garoppolo is going to be fully healthy. We don't know if Garoppolo is going to be if he's even going to be the guy there. There's outs with the Raiders that they could get out. So I still think the Raiders are a mess of a franchise still. I don't think Josh McDaniels has truly figured it out or has truly got back to the or let's put it this way. I don't know if he's fully learned from his Denver Bronco experience as being a head coach, or it could be that's just him. That's just the way he is. That's just what this guy. That's just how he is. Maybe he's a little bit better in the people, the people, uh, the people aspect, but still, he's still kind of a. I mean, he's kind of a douchebag. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So the Raiders are dealing with it. You got your quarterback fighting your best player on defense, getting in arguments. And I don't even know if pretty boy Jimmy G can bang. I don't know if he can handle himself. I don't know if he could throw down. I wouldn't want to mess with Crosby. I'll just tell you that right now. I would not want to mess with Crosby. So you got that going on. San Francisco, the San Francisco 49ers. You got Brock Purdy or Trey Lance. And right now, Trey Lance does not look that good. And if you look at the 49ers from the 49ers position, like it was McVay, it was John Lynch, who were one of the first guys to come out and say, screw them picks. We don't need those picks. As the 49ers went all in with the Trey Lance, giving up a lot of draft capital, and they were still in the NFC title game last year. And they still probably could have won that game if they would have had a quarterback. So they are in a situation, and I think isn't Bosa holding out over there too? Like they got some problems over there with early in training camp too. Bosa's not happy with his deal. He's got some issues going on. They don't know who their quarterback is. Can they survive with Brock Purdy? I don't see why they can't. But I think that Bosa situation is a bigger deal than the quarterback situation. Trey Lance has been injured for the past 3-4 years since he's been playing football. He didn't play a COVID year. It's been since COVID. He's played more than 10 games. I want to say. I don't even think he's played even 5 games since he got hurt last year. I'd have to look at it again. Here at E50 5280 Sports, we are all reaction, very little research. So I can't remember how many games he played, but it can't be that many. So he's trying to get back in the swing of things, trying to get back into the groove of playing football, playing quarterback in the NFL. And it might be Brock Purdy to start the season. And if he's the same dude, or he could do the same things that he did going later into that season before he got hurt in that NFC Championship game, then they should be okay, right? What makes you think that they won't? Is he going to have a regression year? He really didn't have a full rookie season, a full rookie a full as the starting quarterback. So this will be a little bit different situation. The Shanahans are going to have him ready to go. So when it comes to that situation, I think the 49ers will be okay. I'm more worried about the Bosa situation. And if that gets handled, I don't know if it has gotten handled. The last I heard, he was still upset about his deal. Moving right along, we'll go into the Cowboys situation. Mike McCarthy is calling plays this year. Mike McCarthy wants to get back to let's get back to the basics and run the football. Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you right now, unless Mike McCarthy has changed his ways, running the football to him, getting back to running the football to him was not consistent in Green Bay. The dude would call plays and he would have a series where he would run the ball 2 to 3 times and gain yards and keep moving the chains. And then the very next series in that possession, he would throw 3 straight passes, or he would call 3 straight pass plays, and they would punt. So I'm curious to see what that's going to be. I'm really, really curious to see what that's going to be. And Dak Prescott's throwing interceptions. Dak Prescott's still looking like the dude that is not the guy, is not the dude. So I don't know. And when it comes to the Cowboys, they're like the Lakers. They can be totally, totally dog water, and the media, the national media, will still say that they're a Super Bowl contender, that they still have an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl and play. They haven't scared, they haven't done anything to get me to think that they're ready for that situation since, I mean, maybe Tony Romo, maybe. I mean, I was going to go back even further than that, but it's really been, there's just haven't had those dominant Cowboy teams where you're looking at them like they're going to be okay. And those Tony Romo teams, those problems were Tony Romo when he messed up that extra point. I could go back to that. I think that was the Saints year that they went to the champion, or they went to the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. So the Cowboys are the Cowboys, and they're going to cowboy until they don't. Right? That's just the way I kind of feel about that whole situation with the Cowboys. I'm not gonna. These shows, they devote entire segments daily, it feels like, to the Cowboys, if they're going to be back or not. So it kind of drives me crazy with the Cowboys anyway. Now, there were some rumblings too in Arizona with the new coach there, that there's a big culture shock in Arizona. Now, I got very, very, very big, huge, huge Michael Scott vibes. And if you know me, you know the show, you know the how we do things here, especially Mike and I, when we have our show. We love The Office. We love The Office. And I got huge, huge uh Michael Scott vibes from their new head coach. And I got the feeling that Gannon was going to have some kind of it was weird. It was really weird, but it was huge Michael Scott vibes, huge Hackett vibes. But you got players, like John, like Connors is saying that it's a big culture shock, that there's some situations too where they can't be you can't be 3 minutes late to the meeting, or just a lot of it, from what I was I was reading and listening to these dudes, it sounds like they're they were used to a certain way with Cliff Kingsbury, and I guess this is what they mean by a culture shock, and then now it's totally different, but they don't feel like grown men, because that term was used a couple times. We're grown ass men, and it sounds like a Brian Shaw situation. Like, it's like, I don't know if Nuggets fans will remember this. Brian Shaw came in and like went through a whole day of teaching, or going through of coaching these guys, professional athletes, on how to keep a locker room clean, how to keep their locker clean, how to wear shower slippers, how to get, like, they went through all of that stuff, like stuff you would do with a middle school or high school team. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here from Gannon. That's the vibe I'm getting here from this guy. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen in that with that team. The getting healthy, the of Kyler Murray, how he's going to fit in that as he gets healthy. And it's just, that's something that I kind of pinned last year when I saw that whole Gannon meeting his players. I can't remember who it was that he met, but you could tell that dude, because that Michael Scott or Jonathan Gannon comes in and tells him, "You're here, or I want to see you. I see superstars for you. I see star." Like, he's telling him that, and that dude's like, "What? What have we got ourselves into with this guy?" So the Arizona Cardinals will be fun to watch this year. Will be fun to watch, just with that whole situation. But I felt the same way with the dude in Philadelphia when he first got there. It was kind of like a train wreck there too. But and then now look at him. Now he's sitting there. He's got an NFC Championship game, a Super Bowl appearance. He's got probably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the best defenses in the NFL. So we'll see how that goes and how that turns out. After he even lost he lost pretty much all of his assistants. So we'll see how that turns out now, there with Philadelphia. But anyway, I'm going to keep my eye on Arizona, as they trade DeAndre Hopkins is gone, Nuke Hopkins is gone. He's there in Tennessee, so it's going to be interesting to see what that team looks like, especially with Gannon. But I think it'll be entertaining nonetheless, especially to hear how the players react to this dude. But definitely big time Michael Scott vibes. Big time Michael Scott vibes. So, and then you get into Indianapolis. We kind of talked about the Jonathan Taylor, because he kind of came out, I want to say it's Friday or Saturday, um, with his trade demanding a trade. And I kind of said, I was like, well, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get traded for. It's not going to happen. Not right now. It's bad timing. And basically, I want to say like a day, I think it was Monday. It could have even been, no, it was Monday. It was Monday. The news comes out that they're going to put him on an exempt list, or a some injury list that you get put on if you get injured outside of the team facility, or not during a team function. Hurt his back, apparently. Jonathan Taylor comes out. I mean, it was literally hours, I feel like. Oh, hey, that was not true. It was a lie, or I don't know where your sources are. I'm not injured. My back's not hurt. None of that. So now you got the Colts basically trying to bench this guy, or trying to get him. Like, it's a whole crazy, and it ties into what's going on this year with the running backs. And in my opinion, I don't know, every the ins and outs of it all, but the running backs are really looking, they're not looking good. They're not coming out good on the other end of all this bickering and going back and forth. And And Jonathan Taylor is one of those guys that is going to want to get paid. Is going to want to. I mean, he doesn't want to be there anymore. And if you look at it from the Indianapolis Colts point of view, is this an Irsay issue? Because let's just look at their, Andrew Luck left. Whether if you want to look at that is because he wanted to walk when he's older. I don't. I feel like that was more of a injury kind of a deal. Like, but still, it was with the Colts, and there was the position that they put that dude in with the dog crap offensive line that they kept giving him. Then they weren't giving him much help outside of that. I mean, yeah, you had those brief runs with who was the running back there? Was it Mack, or was it Marlon Mack there for a little bit? Did he play with Luck? I can't, but you just didn't really have a lot of help, especially on the offensive line for that dude. So he left. And then you had a hodgepodge of Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz was there, wasn't he? Holy smokes. So there was like a hodgepodge of quarterbacks that you tried to get through there. No, Carson Wentz wasn't there. Was he Carson Wentz? I got to look that up. So you had a hodgepodge of quarterbacks there, and then you finally get Anthony Richardson, who's lightening it up from what I understand and from what I can see. And he, like, you're thinking, okay, now we got a thunder and lightning. Now we kind of have like a situation where we can have a we can have a situation where you're pairing two guys up. You still got the offensive line is gotten a lot better. So what can we do there? So the whole Jonathan Taylor thing, it sounds like it's not as much to do with the whole situation of having. I think that has more to do with Irsay, and I feel like that's at this point could be a personal issue between the player and the, I guess you could call it ownership, management, but I don't know if that has that much to do with the running backs. But it's just kind of another like, oh, here we go, another running back, and then now you got Dalvin Cook too. He went to the Jets. Uh, who else did he go? I think he went to the Patriots, maybe. But he's kind of doing the whole go, and he hasn't signed with anybody yet. So was he looking for more money? Like, what has there been an offer? The Jets, the last time I read from them, I read an article talking about it. It didn't sound like they were too, they made him a good offer. And it didn't sound like from their perspective that Dalvin wanted to be there. So we'll see how that goes. For a second there, everybody was all warm and fuzzy that A-Rod was going to get number 8 was going to get another weapon or another toy he could play with there. So that's going to be a situation that, you're going to keep an eye on. But yeah, the running backs this year overall as a whole have just been crazy. And we'll see. We'll see what it shakes down. We'll see where Cook goes, and we'll see if Jonathan Taylor even plays. We'll see if Josh Jacobs even plays. There's so many running backs and so many issues with that whole situation that it's all up in the air. It's all up in the air at this point. And we'll see what happens going down forward. Here locally, here the hometown squad, here as I live in Denver, Colorado, the Denver Broncos. Broncos country. Very, very devastating loss again as Tim Patrick goes down. Non-contact. It was an on-air injury, as they call it. See, look, I'm learning the lingo that they use there. On-air injury. Tore his Achilles, complete rupture, tear of the Achilles. He's out for the season. KJ Hamler is out with a condition that he's going to try to get healthy. It sounds like they're going to bring him back when he does get healthy, but let's hope for both of those guys personally, on a personal level, that they get healthy and they have a good recovery, because it's horrible. It's horrible to the psyche. It's horrible to the pride. It's awful to see those kind of dudes that, they put the work in, they work their ass off and train in practice, training camp to stay healthy and to be in a position to play football. And just one of the, just especially Tim Patrick, just bad luck for this guy. Just awful. And he's out. And then the whole, here, the whole talk was, it's, Are the Broncos going to sign receivers? Are they going? Everybody was throwing out, we could get this person, we can get that person. And I just don't know if that's necessary right now at this point. And I don't think the Broncos think it is because instead of signing a receiver, they sign a defensive back. So that kind of shows you where their head is when it comes to this receiver position. Callaway and Mims, who is coming back slowly from injury, but I think he's going to be a force in this offense with this football team if he could get back fully healthy as they're slowly integrate. They're getting him back involved. I think he could be pretty good for this team. I really do. So that's a positive note if you're in Broncos country. Now, I don't understand the so Russell Wilson. This is what I can't understand. There's so many flavors in this world, and there are still people that have to be salty about this dude. I get it. I understand last year he did not play well at all. He looked awful. There was glimpses of what he could do in the old Russell Wilson, but he's gone through the steps. He's gone through the effort to get better this season. He's got the coach that he wants. He's got the situation that he's wanted. He looks healthier as far as being skinnier, I guess, if you want to look at it that way and want to say it that way. And there's still people that are salty about him. There's still people that say he looks horrible. He looks awful. And another thing I want to get out there and like kind of shoot down, I guess. I want to see if we can stop like saying the defense has won the day. The defense I follow at least a handful of teams that I follow. And through each, I don't follow every team. I try to follow as much as I can, but I know I have a handful of teams that I follow. And at least more than 10 times, the defense has won the day. Okay. Isn't that like, are we at the point where it's common knowledge that the defense is going to win the day? If we can look at it like like it's training camp, of course the defense is going to win the day. And it's driving me crazy because with all these teams that I follow too, that I don't, man, I'm losing, especially here with the Broncos. A lot of people are losing credibility with me that I'm not following. And I can't be at camp every day. I can't go watch this team. I can't go and even though I'm not out there evaluating, but I like to watch and see what they look like. I can't do that. I have to watch, I have to follow what other people say. And I'm telling you right now, there are not the people are they're bad. They're just they're not very good. And a lot of cliches getting pushed around. A lot of, and especially when you listen to the radio shows or the podcast too. Again, I'm trying to listen to these things so I can gather information to see where we're at because I'm not there. And it's harder and harder to listen to these things because it's harder and harder to trust them, the credibility. When I hear three or four different shows say the same thing in the same way. So what that tells me is that they're standing around talking with each other and they heard other people that know what they're talking about say this in some way, shape, or form. And then by the time it gets to through three other people, and then by the time it gets through the microphone to the TV or to the camera or to the radio, it's morphed into just hot, like I don't trust them anymore. Very, very hard to trust them. And especially with the receiver situation. Like there's people like sounding the alarm, and then there's people that are sounding the alarm too with and again, this isn't just for the Broncos, but the Broncos are pretty bad with this. This is other offensive line depth. I don't know if I'm pretty sure Bowles is out there. I don't think McGlinchey's been out there because I think he's got some personal stuff that he's dealing with. A lot of guys aren't playing, a lot of guys aren't there. And again, I've said this already before. If you're looking for a backup for each offensive line position, if you're looking for four backups, solid backups, you're not going to get five. You're not going to get five guys to rotate on the offensive line. Like I said before, you're lucky to get three. Lucky to get three. And the coaches don't look at it. Like that's another thing that pisses me off too. As soon as these receivers got hurt, Oh, they gotta sign those guys. They gotta fill it. No, they don't. Coaches don't look at it that way. I guarantee you they don't look at it that way. They don't look at it as, oh, we got to sign somebody. We got to have somebody in here. They have people. They're going to use those positions they're going to, now they look at it as open roster spots. Now, maybe I can go sign another offensive line. Maybe I can go get another defensive line. Maybe I can go get another DB. Maybe I can go get another linebacker. They're not going to look at it and like, we have to replace these guys with two other receivers. They don't look at it that way. And I'm sick and tired of hearing the narrative or the talking point that they have to do that. They have to do that. No, they don't. No, they don't. They're going into the season with the offensive line mindset that these are our guys, these are our rotation players, and if somebody gets hurt, like look, they're prepared for people to get hurt. That's why you have the rotation players, but they're not going in there thinking that we have to be ready if somebody goes down for the season or somebody goes down for any significant time. No, they're not. They're not thinking that way. And that's all I hear. Well, they got to get this. There's a glaring need of depth in the at the offensive line. When half of those guys are in the pull or in the rehab, half of those guys are doing something else. They're just not there now. So that stuff is driving me crazy with camp. Crazy. Hard to get a good solid evaluation. And Russell Wilson apparently, if you follow some people, it just we should just get that's it. Pull the plug now. That's it. He threw a couple interceptions to a really good player on the defense, one of the best safeties in the game. So it's Russell Wilson's fault. It's just maddening. It's just maddening. We can't really even look at what even make it. You got to understand what these guys are doing. You know, I'm not saying that I necessarily agreed with the whole Schumer and throwing incomplete passes on purpose, mindset. But you got to understand what these guys are doing and what they're trying to accomplish and what they're trying to do in practice. And it's hard to take the credibility of some people that are evaluating what they're watching when they don't know what's going on, what they're watching. They don't know what they're watching. Let's put it that way. But the biggest thing that I'm watching is a lot of people think that October 8th, week 5 is going to be a huge game, and it very well could be. But I think a lot has to happen in order for it to be. You have to have two winning teams. They have to be. I think they both have to be winning, because if one of them looks like crap and one of them isn't playing very well, you could have issues with the like the new players that are there. And of course, I'm talking about the New York Jets versus Denver Broncos on October 8th, week 5. If you're have both of the teams that are successful, and let's say 2-2. If they have losing records, I'm not interested. Sure, you could say, hey, if they both going into this game 1-3, and this could be a game that can turn their season around. Because if you're 1-3 at that point, you're and if you're these two teams and you're 1-3, you might be just a little panicky, little panic button pressing. Maybe depends. Both of these franchises make huge investments in coaches and players, and they want to see the return on those investments immediately. And if you're 1-3, that's kind of sketchy. You're kind of nervous. I know with the extra games and whatnot, you have a little bit more wiggle room, but you really don't in the NFL. You get down in that 4 to 5 loss column in the beginning part of the season. It's very, very tough to go on stretches of where you have to win games in a row week to week. Very tough. So you could look at it that way if they're losing teams. If they're 1-3, both teams are 1-3, you go into this game, this can make or break some seasons. Okay. But if one team's crap, like the Jets could be, Aaron Rodgers, the whole kumbaya, go talk to your other teammates, all the stuff that this dude did in Green Bay before they drafted Jordan Love, and I shouldn't say that, before they didn't talk to him about it, before they didn't get him. There were some issues there. We all get it. We all know what happened, especially if you're a Green Bay fan. You know what went down. There could be issues there. The Jets, Breece Hall's coming off a knee injury. He's having a good season. He's coming off a knee injury. Who's Aaron Rodgers likes to throw tight end. Who's the tight end there? I'm thinking it's It's that I feel like it's a kid from Cincinnati that Uzoma. I can't remember. Again, all reaction, very little research. Here at Sports Shorts on e5280sports.com. So the receiver position, you got Lazard, Cobb. Okay, yeah, good. Garrett Wilson, right? I think this dude, him and Aaron Rodgers are going to have a blowout year. I think he's going to be a tremendous fantasy get. But we don't know that for sure, right? I think he might be because of what I saw last year with Zach Wilson and who else was our quarterback over there? Joe Flacco. Come on. He was good. But we'll see. Issues with Hackett and whatnot. We'll see. But the whole thing, the whole reason why this is built up to be one of the biggest games of the season, and then people are asking to get this flexed, and they're really, really going in on it. And I'm not too sure that it's going to even matter because I think all this stuff isn't going to matter, is what Sean Payton said. And we've already went forward. If you went through it, if you want to go back and look at it, you can go back and look at it. I'm sure you can find it. Hackett finally responded. Apparently, there's a code out there. And I'd imagine there's a code, but I don't know if that code applies to Super Bowl winning, very successful Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. I could give you a couple examples. Like Shanahan, Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh, I'm sorry. And guys like that. They kind of get a little, that coaching code is when you're and I'm trying to think of other Bill Belichick, right? I don't know if that coaching code truly exists in some of the caliber of those guys. Mike Tomlin, even though I think Mike Tomlin, I don't know, Mike Tomlin lives. I think he lives his. I think he goes by about his business in a different way. So he might be in a different category himself, to be honest. But Hackett even kind of he mentioned something about a code. It was just like Jesus, like it was. I'm glad that dude's not the coach here anymore. I'm glad he's not. And I mean, it was just like, oh, gee, golly shucks. Like he could have came out. I would have came out. Ryan Leaf said it perfectly, and I shared it on Twitter. If you want to follow me, Matt Mascarenas one on Twitter X. He said it. He said it. He should have said I screwed up. It wasn't very good, and Hackett did say that, but it was like a rhyme. It was like a movie quote. I thought he was going to start quoting Dumb and Dumber, like, big gulps, huh? So he came out and the coach's code thing is what kind of was got me like, but are you part of that code, dude? You're not. I don't think you're in that code. I don't think you qualify to be in that code. I don't know if you're, and this is kind of funny because this kind of goes into I've been on a John Wick kick lately, and that whole secret society of how he goes through and what he's a part of, the member, all that society of I guess assassins. I don't think Hackett is a part of that society where the code applies to him. I don't think he's there at all. I don't. The guy was not a good head coach. Russell Wilson wasn't a good quarterback. Those can both be the same. Aaron Rodgers comes out, goes off a little bit, and says, keep my coach's name out of your mouth. Kind of goes in at him. Hackett's one of my favorite coaches, and he always has an upbeat, blah, 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 blah. Aaron, if he was one of your guys, if he was your guy, and now, hey, look, I may sound like an X right now because I am, but I lived through this guy. I watched this dude. I feel like I know this guy from a fan's perspective and what he does on the football and how he does just as good as any other Packers fan that watched him his entire career. he comes out and says that he goes in that Hackett's one of his favorite. He's a great guy. He loves what he does, but he leaves him hanging when it comes to coming to Denver. Again, I go back to it. Everything that Aaron said could be true, but is he really? Is he really that guy for you, Aaron? Because you left him hanging here in Denver. What happened? You were supposed to come here. You were supposed to be here with him. The only reason why he got the job was to get you here. Like the only reason why the Jets hired him was to get you there. And you left him out to dry. You could have came here with him. He could still be the coach here. You and him could be here together. All of his buddies that he brought, all that group could be here. But you left him hanging out to dry. And if I'm Hackett and Aaron's saying all this stuff about, I'm like looking at him like, where were you last year, dude? Where were you last year when I needed you the most? I don't need you right now. I don't need you right now. I needed you last year. I needed you to have my back last year and come and be my quarterback. That's what I needed. I didn't need you to come to my defense, come to my rescue here. I needed you last year. Where were you? You weren't there. But now he's here. Now Aaron's, that's my guy. Keep my name out of your mouth, blah, 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 blah. Sean Payton's over it, doesn't care. He's over it. Who cares? And I think that's what's going to happen when we get down closer to it. Even if I just don't see this lasting that long. Unless something else comes out, unless somebody else says something, unless somebody from the Broncos says, hey, calls out Aaron, tells him to keep his coach's name out. I don't know. But as far as I look at it, I think Coach Payton has said, hey, that's it. We're done. I'm over it. I'm out of it. Like he's supposed to. He said what he wanted to say. And then he came out and said he regretted that he said it the way he said it. I don't think he regrets that he says it. I think he regretted the way he said it. Had my Fox hat on. I got loosey-goosey on them, hey, one latte, one vanilla latte, I'm gonna blah, 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 blah. 2 vanilla lattes, I'm gonna call out Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know. Like he was all hopped up on lattes. I think it's over. I do. You have, for this to be a problem, both sides have to have it. And I don't think the Broncos are going to have it. I really don't. I think the Broncos are going to move on. See, this is why I'm glad that Peyton's in. I know he caused all this. He put him in this situation by what he said, but I'm glad he's here because I think he's one of those guys that can cut it off, move on. Doesn't care. Why should he care? Why should he hold on to it? And I don't think that the Jets are going to hang on to it either. Aaron Rodgers is kind of like an elephant. He'll remember things. So he might hold on to it. But again, if they're a dog butt team and they're not winning, I don't know if he's going to think about it. If you ask him, if they're 1-3 and you ask him, hey, does this week put anything else since from what happened in July, blah, 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 because they're not going to care. They're not going to be thinking about that because they're going to be thinking about the 3 games that they've lost. And they got a tough schedule. They kick it off with Buffalo. I just don't think they're going to remember. I don't think they're going to care. I really don't. And I don't think it's going to matter unless, like I said, unless they're both winning teams, and then you can have something to play for. But at that time, there's going to be so many other things that are going to pop up between August 1st. It's the 2nd, August 2nd and October 8th. There's going to be a lot of things that happen between there, especially if you're not winning football games. So relax. Okay, relax. I'm going to be number 12. Relax on all that. Relax on the flexing. Relax on the I don't even think we're going to be talking about this in a week. This time next week, after the first preseason game, I don't think we're going to be talking about it. You're probably going to, most of the media around here are probably going to be talking about When are we going to start Stidham? That's probably what's going to happen. Oh God, we gotta find the depth here. The offensive line. Oh God. That's where we're going to be. I'm telling you. That's where we're going to be. But where I'm also going to be is here tonight. Tonight, I'm going to do it. Tonight is the night. We're going to get down with the first. I tried to do it last week, had some issues, but this week it's happening. We're doing it this week. It's going down. The Stranglehold is going to be back tonight. 8 a.m., 8 p.m. sharp. Mountain Standard Time, right after AEW Dynamite. If you are a wrestling fan, if you are a fan of sports entertainment, that is where I am going to be here tonight, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, right after AEW Dynamite. We will recap AEW Dynamite. We will look at Raw, and then we will look into SummerSlam this week, and we will also look at the Wembley show, the AEW Wembley show in England. So, without boring you anymore today, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to wrap it up. I've yapped a long time and I'm getting thirsty. Thank you for tuning in. I am Matt Mascarenas. This is Sports Shorts. If you want to get at us, follow more stuff, follow the things we do. That's e5280sports.com. I'm telling you, go check it out. We got pickleball over there. We got freaking pickleball. Go check it out. But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you Friday, or if you're a sports entertainment fan, tonight as the Stranglehold gets going. We're back, baby. We're back.